What did you guys learn last year that should be teachable moments for this year's squad?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, when you have a year like you had last year, I think you refocus every phase of your program. I think last year we were inexperienced, but we were also a little bit unprepared. I think when you have 10 seniors and all factor into your lineup either as starters or as subs that play a lot, and then you replace them with inexperience, they better be pretty good. And we had a good group, but I think the thing we learned this year is our freshmen was probably one of the best freshman classes we've had, by far the most prepared we've had in all of our fitness testing and everything there. Leaps and bounds ahead of any class we've had, and we need to count on a bunch of them to play, and they've all shown very well so far. So we probably have 4 or 5 in our top 12 or 13.
Was that a sellable point to some of these young kids? Hey, come right here, you can compete and get on the field right away.
It was, but I think we learned from last year. When you have 10 freshmen and they're all, I think 9 of the 10 were actually the first kids in their family to go to school. Everything was new, and you forget. The year before we only had 2 players in that particular class, that freshman class. We had 3 the year before. So to have 10 again in such an important year, and I'll be the first to admit we don't shy away from playing anybody, and we probably overscheduled playing a couple top 20s on the road early, which would have been ideal the year before with a veteran team. So this year we still have a good schedule. It'll be challenging, obviously with the Big East. It'll be very challenging, but I like the group. It's a group that's we keep saying we're farther ahead than we feel like we've been the last few years. So hopefully that translates to the results we get.
Sir, there's unknown about who will eventually line up and kick it off for you, but is there another greater unknown about the conference and all that big picture there? It's kind of, I know it's new for everybody, but how strange is it to go into a year like this?
Well, I think the one thing that we tried to sort of preach to our players in March when we knew we were making the move was that you really can't have an off day. In the Valley, despite having the record we had last year, which we hope was just a blip, there were a lot of days when we were not the best team, and we ended up kind of walking our way through a few good wins. We have to be ready from the get-go. So I think the players kind of know that there's not as greater margin for error, and that preparation was huge. What they did in the summer, what they did in the spring, and we saw that with the results we got in the spring. Although they don't count, we played a lot better, and there was just a different focus. And so I think everybody felt the sting of having a poor year, and I think they're ready to prove people wrong, and getting picked 9th. Hopefully that's going to be easy motivation for us.
What did you do from a preparation standpoint? What did you do differently?
Well, we felt like last year, I think we lost, I don't know the stats, I think we lost 9 games by a goal, but we were giving up goals, the last 5 minutes of halves, the last 5 minutes of games, which are where your fitness and your focus really has to be at its best. And we looked at a couple things. We looked at our fitness preparation, and we needed to be, we needed to make that sort of the top of the pyramid. That we needed to be able to defend better and defend longer, and so we did lots of things that recreated game situations where we kind of put them under a little bit of pressure, and it showed in the spring, and I think getting the chance to play Arkansas tomorrow. They should finish in the top third of the SEC will be a great opportunity, I think, for us to get exposed a little bit and see how we handle it.
What's the challenge of having potentially a freshman goalkeeper for you?
Well, she's a good one. So the challenge is that it's just inexperience, and it's as good as they get it in club and all the experience and all the quality of games there. I mean, her team's been in the national championship the last 2 years. She's played under a bit of pressure. They're still freshmen, so that youth and that inexperience is, it's a little worrisome just because it's an important position. It's like a point guard in basketball in a lot of ways, where the ball's going to be in her hands at pivotal moments in games. But I like what I've seen. She carries herself very well, as you'll see, and she's been trained by a former Creighton men's goalkeeper. So she came in ready, and she'll be I think she'll be one of the anchors in the back for us.
She's from Texas, so two thumbs up.
Yeah.
Is with the new league? Are you familiar with most of these teams in terms of what you're going to go against, and who do you think that might develop as Creighton's rival in the Big East?
You know, we've played Marquette twice in the spring, which is our non-competition seasons, and we know them fairly well. I think we go head-to-head a lot with them in recruiting. We get a lot of kids out of Kansas City in particular, and Chicago. You know, I see them in Georgetown as sort of the benchmark teams, and you know, it's been interesting to get to know. We haven't had a kid in our program, I think, from the Northeast since I've been here, which is where, you know, by and large most of the league is from. But I see those two as being the benchmark teams, and I think I see them developing as sort of the rival, just because that's where we want to be, and that's where we're striving for. So it should be exciting. We get one in the conference opener, and then we play the other on the road.
Do you have to adjust your recruiting tactics then, your footprint or whatever they call it, to get out east more?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think we did that a lot in the late spring. We got out to New Jersey, and I think the exposure and, you know, the Big East name has gotten out there because we've gotten a lot more interest in kids writing us from that area, and there's some good teams. So we're certainly gonna, you know, we might gravitate towards the Northeast a little bit more. You know, we've got more California kids than we have Nebraskans on our team. So, you know, in all likelihood, go out that way a little bit more to recruit kids.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.